Hi viewers, welcome back to another episode of Breakfree is the podcast where we talk about the business world, motivation, businesses, inspire people, and motivate also people. Um, please also check us on Facebook and on YouTube, and please like and subscribe and follow. And today we have a wonderful guest here, Impact. But I think I need to read this because it's too many. This guy have 3 degrees on a global stage, and he make a huge impact. Meet a scientist, and also for a mentor, what means to have power with purpose. Jerobiam Julies. Jerobiam, tell the views we were.
Hi everyone, my name is Jerobiam. I am originally from the neighboring town here called Darling, but I'm staying currently in Somerset West. I have wear many hats from a creative point of view in the pageant modeling space, but also from a professional point of view. I'm in the science, food safety base, but I'm sure you guys probably hear a little bit more about what I do. Just grateful to be here, man. Thanks.
Okay. Um, Tell the viewers about the journey of Stellenbosch and what the first interest you in biotechnology.
Yeah, the journey to Stellenbosch University, contrary to popular belief, a lot of people feel like when they look at life
Mm.
now, like it looks easy and things were like handed on to me on a silver platter, but it was not always the case. So once I finished matriculated at Swinston Secondary in Malmesbury, I performed really well. I was first in my grade, got average A, and then I went to university, enrolled in a specific degree program, and then I was like at the bottom of the list with an
Okay.
A tape and everything.
Yo.
I did really, really bad. So for me, that was shocking to come from the space of top achiever to somebody that kind of struggles to find a
Mm.
way through. And I think at that time it was more because I enrolled into a certain degree that I feel other people have perceived for me
Mm.
and not following what I want to do. And I had to kind of like take a step back after my first year. I was like, okay, this is not working out well for me. Like, really
Okay.
throw back and see what is actually what I'm interested in. Um, and then it took me back like to how I grew up. You know, my mom always tells the story when I was little,
Mm.
like where she had like leftover mayonnaise jars. I would keep that and I would collect soil from outside and I
Okay.
would grow plants and bugs and earthworms and things. So I was always very much into the science side of things. And so in my second year, I changed my degree plan or what I wanted to do with my life. And then slowly but surely, that went into a different degree, which I love. Um, so from a journey point of view, I went into BSc, molecular
Mm.
biology and biotechnology. Then I was like, okay, I still feel like I got a little bit of spunk in me to go further. So I did a honors degree in microbiology. And then it was like, okay, I'm not entirely done yet. So then I went into a master's in wine biotechnology. And then it was like, yeah, no, I'm done.
You
I
know,
want to
it's
do
just this is a period for the
yeah,
viewers in wine biology.
wine biotechnology. Yes.
Okay.
So wine biotechnology, a lot of people think I can make wine. I can't make wine.
Was that was that's a, I wanted to ask you, can you make
Because
us some wine?
I had a discussion with somebody the other day, like, um, you see, you probably get a lot of wine. It's like, ik kan nie eintlik bymaak nie. Ek verstaan weer die biologiese proses van
Mm.
bymaak. So, as dit kom by bymaak, dan is baie bakterieë en gisse wat teenwoordig is. Soos mense byvoorbeeld pak die gis wat jy daarin gooi. Sekere van hy gisse kom ook voor in die bymaakproses. So, I was working more with that space of things. So, yeah.
Okay. Um. Yeah. All 3 degrees in the field. What made you go all the way to a master wine biology? But you
Mm-hmm.
already answered. But what was
Mm.
in the sense that what pushes you through? Because I know there was a but sometimes maybe I don't know if it must maybe financial side or what.
Yeah.
So what was actually the thing that pushes you all the way through
Mm-hmm.
to give you that courage, to give you that motivation to go on
Mm-hmm.
and make it finish?
That's a good question because I've always been somebody that challenges myself, like that strive towards going an extra step further. So I think the biggest motivation for me to pursue as far as a master's is just by looking at where I come from. So I come from, obviously, like I said in the beginning, from Darling, a small town, facing a lot of societal ills. And it's really difficult to see further than what we're faced with on a daily basis. So I feel like I want to be an example for people that irrespective of where you come from, you can still achieve something, but achieve even something higher or bigger or better, whatever that might be, whether it be degrees, whether it be a certain promotion in the field of work, whatever the case might be. I always wanted to show people that there is good that can come from a small town called Darling. So I think I wanted also to uplift the status of the family and just be an inspiration and motivation for others around me. From a professional or from an academic point of view, I was always interested in applying knowledge. So when you do your first degree, like you have the knowledge basis very well founded, like the foundation is strong. But then I'm like, there's so much more that you can do with science. So let me see how I can apply it further. So when I went into honors, it gave me a little bit of a further scope into what I would academically claim myself as a microbiologist. But when I went into masters, then I saw how I could use this knowledge into a practical sense, like something like winemaking, which the country is very much well known for. So it's a combination of striving towards applying what I've learned into something that's practical on a day to day, but also to be an example for those in the community that there is more and there's better out there.
Okay. Um, how did you land your role as a subsidiary manager and international sales manager in the global firm?
Yeah, that's also something. Just like a lot of things in my life, it's something that I was not sure of. So I remember very clearly was the day that I handed in my thesis for my masters, and I was sitting at the PC in the lab where I was based in at the university, and then there was this job that came out. It was saying something I can't remember, sales and biotechnology. And for me, it was like I don't know, but something about this post was drawing me into it. I was like, let me just apply for it. So I was sitting there at the laptop in the lab and got an answer like within a week, like, can I come for the first interview? And it's a global firm, it's an international firm. So we did a Zoom call at first. And then I was like, I had such bad reception, like the internet was so bad. But somehow, I think it was definitely godsend. I passed the first round and I went into the second one. And then we did another virtual meeting and I passed that one as well. And then eventually I got the job. So for me at the beginning was like, I don't have any experience in sales, and I looked at the criteria of the job. It's like, I'm not sure if I'm cut out for this, but certainly something is here because I'm not just going into the next round of interview. And that whole journey just taught me sometimes we are confronted with something that's deeply godsend, something that you have to be in like a certain space or a certain area of your life or the people that you meet. And you should not forget the things that you've learned along the journey to that point. Because when I looked at that criteria again, it was things like good communication skills, good personal and people engagement, and things like that. And that's things that I've already developed quite extensively when I was in school, leadership and community engagement. And then it made sense to me that you should never, je moet nooit dit wat jy doen as gerang afgee. Elke liewe interaksie wat jy met die mense. You can actually land you a dream job like now. Yeah.
So, I don't know, the form of advice is international. Do you work with the government or international? Because, if you can explain to the viewers, like you work with the international government, and what does it actually mean? What does it involve? If you can give a more explanation of what.
Good. That's a good question because I get that a lot, especially at family gatherings. I don't know either. So, the firm that I work for is a biotechnology firm. And if we break down the word to make more sense of it, bio, of course, comes from biology and tech is obviously from technology. So you apply what you know in biology and you combine it with technology to solve real life problems. So from a biotechnology point of view, I occupy a role professionally within the food safety space.
Okay.
Specifically, what we do as a firm is we design laboratory kits that you can use to test for food for certain things. For example, if you are allergic to almonds or cashews in milk, for example, then there's a test that you can use in the lab to see if there's actually certain nuts present or not. Or if you want to know if your meat is actually chicken and not poultry or donkey or pork, whatever, because that happened in the past, there was big scandals about that. Food fraud, we call it. Then there's also tests that you can use for that. So that's the space that I occupy from a food safety point of view. And how I work with government officials and regulators is that they are the people who put certain things in place for you as a food producer to abide by. So there's regulations. You need to adhere to certain compliances. So it's a space where you have the sales part of it, you have a space of the laboratory science people behind it, but you also have your ministers of certain areas of food safety, and they all come together to kind of outline a framework of if we put something like this out in the market for something for people to consume, it needs to follow this and this and this. So that's how we all come together, and that's the space that I'm in. Yeah.
So it's not like if you work in it, there's probably a lot of pressure you guys dealing with.
Yeah, it's a lot of pressure. I when I started, I'm like about 6 years in with the company now. When I started, I managed about one or two countries from a subsidiary point of view or from a distributor management point of view, and started as two, three, four, and then now managing currently 50 plus countries about that. So it is stressful because each country has their own regulations, they have their own culture of work, and then sometimes you feel like, yo, my slap is not so later, and then you get like a call like 3 o'clock in the morning from somewhere in the world. Listen, there's an outbreak. There's some chicken meat that's contaminated with something that's making people sick. And I was in a scenario where something broke out and we helped them luckily, but people got really, really sick.
Yeah.
So
Like how bad was it? Like dying or just like in sick, you just vomit constantly.
I can speak about it because it was in news. Some people got sick, and I think there's a few people that actually that died.
Yeah. So how did you guys cure it? Did you make like an antivirus thing
Yeah,
to?
so we were not able to cure it from like a clinical point of view, but we were able to assist them where the actual contamination like took place. So if you look about at the food production, you obviously work with the farmers. The farmers work with the factories, and factories have to transport the food to the grocery stores, etc. So we could pinpoint specifically where that happened by letting them use certain tests, and then you could see, oh, it's because the transfer of spot A to spot B, there was maybe not proper cleaning or whatever the case might be. So we managed to identify where the problem could have resulted from.
In an investigation of that, how long does it take you guys?
It depends. It depends on what you use. Some things you can do a quick screening for 15 minutes just to get an idea, is it a yes or a no? But then you have to follow it up with something that's like confirmatory, like with a test that can be done 2, 3 days or sometimes a few hours. So it really depends on what you use. But it was quick enough for us to prevent anything further. Because these things happen, we ourselves in the country had this outbreak. I'm not sure if you remember, like a few years ago with the bologna thing. It's similar like that. So so it was quick response, and that's where biotechnology and things come like into play. And that's the space that I occupy. So it's quite stressful.
If you can tell the viewers one of the most important things that you've learned in the food safety, which most people don't know.
I think one of the most important things that I realized, in simple terms, is that there's a lot that happens for you to consume that thing when you buy it in the store. From the labeling to how it should be labeled to the details on the label. So from a food safety point of view, it's not just buying something and eating it. There's a whole journey of testing and compliance that we need to behind it. That was quite interesting for me. Yeah.
Okay. I know since I read your profile as well, you were like a Stellenbosch, the top 30, under 30 going. Can you give the viewers a bit of background what happened there now?
Yeah, I was like you said, announced one of the top 30 under 35 outstanding alumni. So they basically looked at, from what I understood, they looked at everybody who's making like tangible differences and impact in the world and society around them. So when I was, somebody emailed me from the team who manages that, it was quite overwhelming because there's so many alumni, so many people that has gone to Stellenbosch University, and for me to be recognized as one of those. I think it was overwhelming, but it also brought me to a point of standstill to appreciate the journey up until now. Because for me, I've realized that sometimes like I said earlier, I wear so many hats and there's so many achievements that come along. But I know, of course, my intentions are pure and it's never about me. It's all about the impact and the upliftment that I can bring with what I have. that I sometimes forget just to take a moment of pause and just to say, listen, you did a good job. Like taking the moment, enjoy it, and then I think it just speaks of who I am. But it was overwhelming, but obviously, I'm so grateful for that. Like I said, it's a big database of people who come from there. And again, it brings us back to the thing of not only is there good that can come from my community and like to the community of Atlantis, for example, so many people have achieved so many things. But there's always something bigger and better that can happen from it. So I've learned from that is just to sometimes just to take pause and just to appreciate the journey from where you started and not to not get too busy in everything that's happening around you. Yeah.
If you can tell the viewers as well, since you're a scientist guy, biotechnology, from there you went into pets and in the ministerial, supernatural. Can you just give an overview over there too,
Sure,
sure?
sure. Yeah, pageants for me, like I started watching pageants, I think 2016, 2017, and for me, I was like, I don't know, something attracted me to it. I think it's the performing arts and the creative thing about it and the marketing and things like that. But I felt like it came across very superficial. I think it was for me. It was at the time. Oh, it was just pretty girls or handsome guys who walks and does well or has a certain physique or whatever the case might be. Very superficial and not much depth or content to what they do. And I was obviously proven wrong because years in, I'm still very much involved in pageantry. So I started watching, so I became like a pageant enthusiast. I followed every major pageant, local pageant, and I really found like a very nice interest in it, especially to what it can do for people. I've seen people from our community or surrounding communities do pageants and they not win prizes, but they get, opportunities to develop themselves, like public speaking, confidence building. They get into spaces where they connect with different brands and how they are like, yo, they're doing amazing things. So that's when I realized it's more than what I thought it was. And that's what drew me to it. And then I started doing a little bit of pageantry myself. 2023, I entered my very first pageant, Mr. Supranational South Africa, which was a national competition, and I got into the top three, which was for me like also a wow. I was like, I don't have any personal experience taking part in it. I only know it from face value from what I see. So I have no safety net. I have nobody to like kind of guide me specifically what it feels like because everybody's journey is different. When you are part of the pageant, those who know will know. And then I did that, and I went into another pageant the year after. Mr. World South Africa was their top 16. And I think what I realized about it again is what it can do for the person being in that space. Because since I've started being that, I got a lot of brand ambassadors that stands for that's based on good values that I align with, and it brings you closer to a lot of other people as well. I'm still friends with a lot of them that I've made there. So my network of influence, positive influence, really expanded really well. And I think that's one of the things that I can teach people, or to some of them who might have been skeptical like myself, to give pageants a chance. I'm pretty sure some of
But
them
but
give them.
can you give us a little bit more tips, like in what do you need to do in what? Because I know maybe in modeling the makeup, the dresses, the stuff. But for as a guy doing pages, what do you need to do and how do you get into, like you were like an amateur and then you move
Yeah.
through and then you get to a level you certain, but no one did guide you. You need to figure stuff out yourself. So
That's
you
it.
can give us more of a tip of the. I know you did stress probably or sometimes nights through and you didn't sleep properly.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it was for me. What I've learned is when you enter the pageant space, there's a lot of different parts to it. You work with makeup people, you work with grooming, like in terms of hair and styling. You get to work with wardrobe people. So when you are in a pageant, of course, what I've learned is your styling needs to be on point. And styling does not necessarily mean you need to have the latest fit or the trend, whatever. You need to use something that works for you. And I've also learned that it's not just about what you wear, it's about the cut and how it fits to your body type, and also the colors that you wear, how that pairs with your complexion and things like that. Because if you wear a perfectly tailored suit, but it's not the right color, you might get scored lower just because of that perception of how it is perceived. For example, for me, I love blue. Like whenever I do something in blue, I pick up a trend, I get usually higher scores or more positive compliments. Whereas if I wear something else, like I don't know, a pastel pink, for example, then I look washed out, for example. So I've learned a lot about what goes behind styling and image consulting and how that can be perceived, especially now living in the era of social media, how somebody can connect with what they see and how it can elevate your look or. So I had to learn about styling, how not much about makeup. Yeah, I haven't done much makeup before that, but you learn about makeup application based on your face, like how to apply contour, using the right shade for you, using the right haircut for you, because that's something a lot of people seem to experiment with. But if you have a certain face shape or head shape, then some haircuts works for you or not. So I have to do a lot of this research of what could elevate my look that I can score a little bit higher on.
So
on
it's all about the scoring system.
yeah, it's all about how you package yourself that you can get the best food.
Okay. Um, what was the biggest challenge you in the food balancing the making your career into the pageant? The challenge between the pageant and your career. What was the if there is any challenge?
Yeah, I think with my career, it's stable for the most part. But like we discussed earlier, when there's calls coming in 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning, you need to be very adaptable. So I do find myself needing to 2 weeks in advance. I need to fly out to be somewhere, either exhibiting or helping training. So the biggest challenge for me between balancing pageantry and my professional career is time management. Because you need to be kind of like in two places at the same time. So you need to figure out, okay, how I'm going to do this. Maybe we can do a Zoom call, maybe we can do MS Teams or whatever the case might be. So time management was a big challenge for me. And other than that, I think most of it is quite complementary to each other, because if you look at pageant space, there's a lot of creative direction that goes into it. And in my line of work, there's a lot of exhibition. So if there comes to a point where I need to design a booth to showcase something, I do tap into the creative space of things like I would do for pageantry. So the main thing is just managing the time pretty well in terms of what can I do in a different way and being adaptable. Yeah.
So, if you can explain to the viewers, as a creator and marketer director for Miss All High School, what are you trying to teach the next generation?
That's a very good question, because it's all high school is a pageant that I've followed and I've been part with for the past 4, 5, 6 years. I've lost counting because I've been so part of it for so long. Being the creative and marketing director for Miss All High School is such an honor, because it was when I joined it, already had like a legacy of 5, 6 years. Um, so I stepped into the space and I saw the potential of where it could go, and I was like, okay, what can I contribute to this amazing platform with what I already have? So I tapped into my experience of pageantry, I tapped into my professional experience, and I brought that to the platform from a creative and marketing point of view. So you would see a lot of the social media pictures and posts that we put on. That's the ones that I would compile, but I wouldn't have done that if I wasn't in pageantry before, because it's a big way of marketing yourself when it comes to pageantry and social media. And for the younger generation, I would like to encourage them to take part in pageants, especially one like Miss All High School, because this pageant not only is it close to my heart, but I've seen what it does for young people, and I'm seeing what it continues to do for young people, and it just keeps on growing. And I'm excited for this year and year beyond, because a lot more people are coming on board that also wants to contribute, making a positive difference. So I would like to encourage them just to consider Miss All High School or other pageants that have similar values, because you learn so much. Even if you don't win on the night, they do so many workshops and coming together and conferences and meetings and things that you can only grow. You grow in confidence, you grow in public speaking, you grow in social interaction with others, which I think is all essential skills once they step into the world of work. Um, so I would encourage young people to take a chance on themselves and see where it leads. There's literally, I guarantee them that you won't lose anything. There is something that you will win from being part of this whole high school. Definitely.
Um, how did you sing it? You did sing it, Stellenbosch
Mm.
choir. Yeah, to shape you today.
Yeah, Stellenbosch University choir. Yeah, so I come from a family who loves music. Like we always grew up with music around us. Whether as ik kar gewas moet word en as 'n klipaf musiek speel of when we are indoors, whatever the case. Music was always part of our lives. So I come from a musical family, especially from my dad's side. And that's spoken over being in church and then going to university. And that's actually where I got started to be part of the university choir. So I was part of the a cappella group. I'm not sure if you remember the movie Pitch Perfect. So we had like a similar competition. I was one of the vocalists there. And on one of the competition nights, the conductor was like telling the other guy who's was already in the choir, I want that guy, that small, thin guy, tenor, in the tenor section, I want him to be part of the choir because you're referring to me. And so I went to auditions and I got into the choir, and that was amazing. Like Stellenbosch University's choir, Stellenbosch University choir's experience and the accolade speaks for himself. But I think what I've learned from that is it's a big group. At the time I was in, it was 110 of us on stage from all across the country. So, and there's like research also done that when people in the choir sing together, their heartbeat becomes in sync, their breathing becomes in sync. And as somebody from South Africa, that really brings you much more closer to celebrating unity. And you learn so much more about other people's cultures. We have people from Cape Town, from Northern Cape, from everywhere. So I think that was the biggest thing that the choir experience taught me is just to be appreciated more of everybody that you're around with because there's so many talented and gifted people that you can learn from. And I think that was the greatest experience. And I mean, the choir also um, created a platform to tour with them internationally. My first international tour was actually with the choir. And that was a big thing for the family because nobody in my family was ever on a flight internationally. So you can just imagine the night or 2 nights before in a small colored household, like, we couldn't just different. So it was exciting thing for not just for myself but for the whole family, like to see that your like how far your talent can be. So that's the biggest thing I can learn from the university choir, that unity and just learning from other people. I think that's why I'm also in the job that I'm in. I just love working with people. Yeah.
What exactly is the powerhouse unlock in what kind of youth young people you want to look at in developing
Mhm.
in the must all high school.
Mhm. So Powerhouse Unlocked is a mentorship program that I started in 2023 when I entered my first graduate business super national South Africa. And I basically started it from the ground up, meaning I compiled all of the content, etc., from scratch and being creative with the program that would work for young people. And I started off with working locally in my community with the first cohort. I think there were about 10 or 11 young people that I worked with. And this mentorship program was designed to help with confidence building so that they can ultimately perform public speaking because that was a request. When I went out into the community, it was not like, okay, this is what I'm going to do for you. I actually sat down with the young people and I asked them, like, what would you like to still see being developed in yourself or your peers? And that's what came out. And I think it was also a very much spiritually and God aligned moment because I was exactly in the place where I could offer this to them because my job, pushes me to be always working with people, presenting and things. So confidence building and public speaking was something that always was part of that whole journey. So we finished the first cohort and there was a significant increase in a lot of the factors that we monitored because once they started this journey, the first cohort, I obviously let them first do a survey to see where they are in terms of their confidence building and public speaking, etc. Then we had the scores, and I did another post survey to see if anything happened, and all of the numbers including shot up, like how they feel more confident, especially taking risks and speaking in front of people or compiling their own speech and things. And a lot of them have journeyed from them doing great things. One has become a teacher. Another girl is now in the police force. Mind you, she was the shyest girl in the class. She would never come to the front, but by the end of the program, she was the one taking lead and helping and assisting. And that was the most beautiful thing to see. It's like a butterfly coming to its own. And now bringing that to Muswell High School is something so that was for youth upliftment and development. And I was like, okay, how can I also bring this into a pageantry space? As we know, pageantry is about obviously showcasing whether it be a theme way or whether it be a formal way around where you just have to model. But now we have a segment where you need to do a speech or where you need to do a on-stage question. And it was it was actually last year's rendition where we told the contestants, okay, everybody's gonna do Q&A because they probably thought only five of them are gonna do it. But I was like, let's open up this for everyone because it's a chance for them to develop at the same time. And I could see they were scared and frightened, and it's not because they don't want to. Maybe they just didn't have the skills to confidently perform public speaking, and that's where we saw the gap. And that's where, like, let me bring Powerhouse Unlocked to Miss All High School. So I don't want to share too much for now, but there is something that's going to come that would, I think they would benefit from them from the platform, and I think it's going to contribute to them just becoming more like empowered and more confident in just being who they are and using who they are in the form of public speaking and confidence building. So that's something that I'm looking forward to bring into the space. And I mean, it's in a pageant space, but they can use it in the classroom. They can use it when they're doing the orals. They can use it after school when they go for their interviews. So we're preparing them for the pageant with the space, but we're also preparing them for the life after. Yeah.
It's quite, yeah. What was the biggest lesson you've learned from competing on an international stage?
The biggest lesson I've learned in competing on an international stage, referring to the quiet space now, like you need to have your mindset in a positive and a sound space. When I also look at an opportunity to potentially have gone internationally with the pageant space, for example, you can be your own worst enemy. So the biggest lesson that I've learned is you need to surround yourself with people that are positive and uplifting and wants you to succeed. But I also learned that you need to pour into yourself a lot. You need to find ways of staying positive, staying confident, staying true to who you are. Because the moment you are starting to compare yourself, that's already 89% of the journey lost, especially in pageants. So that's the biggest lesson I've learned. Stay true to who you are, be authentic, and continue to pour into yourself. Make sure that your cup is full always, so that you can love others without feeling you are losing yourself in the process. So self care and inner care and checking in with myself on a regular is mandatory for me, and I would like young people to also do that. I mean, especially when they're very young and they're in school and social media, they end up comparing themselves and feeling less than because they see this and they see that. So that's the most important lesson that I've learned. It's just to be true to who you are and continue to point to yourself.
For Miss All High School, we also do the judging part of it sometimes. Can you take us through that and basically what categories there is, what people, if they want, the viewers, what's the want to go into pages, what they need to look out for and how they can prepare themselves?
Good. I like that question because we like to have contestants when they enter the pageant to know what they are entering, of course, and that goes for any other pageant. Almost all high school, we obviously evolved over time to where we have three categories now. So we have Little Miss All Primary School, which is open for grade R to grade 3. Then we have a Miss All Primary School category, which is open for categories grade 4 or for grades 4 to 6, 4 to 7 rather. And in the high school category, it's open for learners from grades 8 to grade 12, for learners in Atlantis, Mamre, Pella, Marcos, Prover, and Down and surrounding areas essentially. So when it comes to the criteria, well, the criteria will depend on the categories that they compete in. So each one of these three age groups, if I can put it like that, loosely, um, they have a theme wear and then they have a formal wear. So each year we're changing things up, so they don't know yet what is waiting for them.
What the surprise is
So they
coming.
will need to pull out all of the creativity as much as possible. But in that creative category, we're looking at how creative you are with the theme. We look at presentation, and the thing that I like about this whole high school is um, when it's on the criteria where it says presentation, for example, and we will be going through this with the contestants usually at the branch, what we're judging on. We say in that category, we're looking at the choice of gown, the choice of color, the accessories, how it complements the contestants. It's very specific so that the judges can know, okay, presentation, but presentation can mean a lot of different things for you and for me. but there's specific criteria like sub-headings that says look at this, 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 this. And usually it's a point out of 10, and then we add that together. It sends to the auditors. They tally everything, and then we obviously make certain announcements for special awards for the overall winners. And then for formal, where we look at poise, for example, we look at elegance. There's always going to be the technicalities of things, your posture, your footwork, what else? Creativity, presentation, posture, elegance and poise, confidence, stage presence. Those are kind of the things we look for. And then some of them do speaking parts, like the middle category in the small primary school. They have a category, for example, last year, where they had to dress up as what they would like to become for career wear. So they would do a little walk or ramp, as we call it, and then they would come to the mic and then they need to present. My name is ABCDE, and I've chosen to become this and this and that, and this is the reason why. There we look at articulation and confidence and the technicalities of the delivery, the message. Does it make sense? Does it flow nicely? Is it coherent? Those kind of things. And the same things apply for the high school category, where they do an on-stage Q&A in the night, where they don't know what the question is, but we look at how they handle or how do we call it in pageantry? How they are graceful under pressure. Yeah. So it's very specific things.
But did you in that spirit, did you have like in someone you ask the question then the answer something weird? It doesn't relate to the question, but okay.
Yeah, we get that. And we obviously have to be professional, and you can't laugh or like do funny faces because people are looking at you. But also from a professional point of view, always like guide judges to keep a neutral face. But you never know what's going to come out of the contestants, and sometimes it's funny, and sometimes obviously serious, and sometimes they're spot on. But I think one needs to look at irrespective of the answer, what are they learning? They are learning to step up to a mic and answer a question that I've never seen before, or maybe not even remotely close to it, in front of a whole of people. Like it's crazy. Like the amount of pressure that you need to deal with that as a young kid on school, it's incredible. So yeah, we hear funny things from time to time, but we don't look at it as laughing at them. We take it as an opportunity to see the gap of how we can guide them next time how to approach the question. We will be doing a lot more from this year on. So it's exciting part for it's scary for them when they do it, but it's fun for us because we never know what's gonna come out at the end of the day. Yeah.
If you can explain to the viewers now, how do you stay focused and motivated wearing these different hats? Since biology, then it's prejudice, then it's the quiet thing. I don't know if you still see, but how do you handle doing it and still stay focused and motivating yourself at the same time?
I think for me, I come from a very strongly religious whole household in terms of always keeping God front and center at everything. So I always pray. I pray a lot. I always keep a sense of gratitude with everything that I'm going because I realize, obviously, especially my work has opened so many doors for me. I've met so many incredible people that I've never thought I would meet. And so I always I always extend a sense of gratitude every day when I'm doing something. And because when you gratitude, you stay humble, you stay appreciative about the opportunities. And I think that helps me with being focused because if you have that sense of gratitude and if you pray, you will be led and guided from a spiritual point of view to stay focused and to stay disciplined and to stay adaptive and resilient to everything. So I think first and foremost, always God and living a life full of prayer, but also your focus can be, side rooted if you engage with the wrong people. So I try to keep my circle very private and very positive and uplifting. So the people that are in my circle, they all also are like that. Because it's like that thing, like, if you're one good apple and you're surrounded by like rotten apples, slowly but surely it will get to you. So I try to keep that space that the people that I engage with in a professional and a personal space, I try to keep that positive and uplifting as well. And that helps you focus. And of course, staying balanced. So after work, eating a healthy lifestyle, trying to gym as much as possible. Now it's obviously hard because it's winter. So
But they say that police is made in winter.
That's the thing, and that's even more crazy because, like, yeah, it's now winter and I have to do more but it's a give and take and it's a balancing. So I try to do everything, but most important for me is living a life of prayer and staying close to God and being grateful, surrounding myself with good people, and living a balanced life of health and general well-being. Because I mean, you can be determined and focused in everything, but if your vehicle is not taken care of to do the job, then it also doesn't mean anything. So I look at it from a holistic point of view, but it's always God at the center of it. Yeah.
If you can tell the viewers, especially the young people who's watching, um, if they stuck between the passion and play it safe, what can you tell them?
Then that's a thing I had to learn very early on before I started my university journey. Is I was torn between the two of, do I play it safe or do I just follow whatever comes easy, what people see me, whatever the case might be. My biggest advice is for young people to find out from a very young age already to, and for parents also to start looking for those things in their children or guardians also. What drives that child? What moves them to excellence? What makes them really get up and be happy about doing that? Whether it's a certain subject or whether it's something that they have to do um, in after school activities. What are those things that really make them tick? Like what sets the heart on fire, as we also call it sometimes. Because that's going to be something that could keep the fire going for a very long time. Because there's going to be times in your professional career where you don't feel like, oh, I have to do this and do that. But if you have that passion, if you have that fire, it will keep you going. So for young people, for me, my advice today would be to find something that you're passionate about, but also to be mindful of where the world is moving. You also don't want to be in a space where something is kind of being phased out, for example. Find something that has a balance of something that you love, but also something that there is a need for in society or in the world of work. And if you can find that middle ground of something, then it would be good. Because from my point of view, for example, in my own experience, it was very difficult for me to, at the time, find a job within that specific science space. But then, like I said, when I got that role after masters, I was like, I'm not sure if I should take this role. I took a risk by like just finishing things. I couldn't study further, but I was like, let me apply for this. And I got in. And lo and behold, now I'm in the space of food safety, for example, which is a combination of science, which I love, from the days of collecting mayonnaise jars and growing bags in plants, to something that's impactful because we all need food and the food needs to be safe, for example. We can't call it food if it's not safe. So it's something that will always be there. So that's the kind of things that I would like young people to be aware of. Choose something, yes, that you are passionate about, but we also be realistic. Where is the world moving? Like, for example, robotics and AI, etc. And trying to kind of find the spaces in between where you can see yourself not only flourishing well in terms of your capability and your skills, but also something that you would enjoy.
Okay. Um, for the viewers, if you can leave one message for the young South African, what to chase their dreams, what would it be?
I would tell them go for it. Go fully for it. I have a nephew, for example. He's still very young and he pursues everything, but it's all within the space of something that he likes. And it's so nice to see his face light up when he's applying for something new and he got the job, for example, or is in anything in new space. So young people, I would encourage them to, number one, try to get into spaces that would develop them. Try to hopefully to be guided with the right people, to put in the right spaces. But really just follow what sets your heart on fire and be practical about it as well. And once you get to that space of constant networking, some people will pick you up. Some people will see you, hopefully, and then they will be able to grant you an opportunity where you can then take it from there. But keep on doing what you are, keep on pursuing the good things and the positive things. Work on your craft, work on different areas of your craft. Like, for example, if you want to go into science, in my case, work on other things, for example, the business part of it, or see it from a business sense of view, like what can I still improve on? Try to maximize the outcomes that you can achieve from the time that you have. You have social media, hopefully in your hands or in your household or in a library. Make use of it, even if it's 30 minutes. Go see what's happening in the world. This is what I like. This is what I don't like. How do I get access to this? Do I know people in this space? Because there's so many people in our communities that there's access to all of these networks and things. Start getting more involved, not just with the research of things, but with the people that you know in your community that are already involved in this. And hopefully we can all start working more closely to building a network where we don't just say keep things for
mm,
ourselves, but share that with the younger generation. So as much as we want them, the young people, to go out and flourish and do what they love, we also need to look at the broader space of community and see what we can do as those who have maybe have walked the path now. What can we use from our resources to pull that together and give young people the opportunity to, maybe if it's hosting a career day, or maybe if you see there's a certain school that flourishes in robotics, maybe I'm an engineer, maybe I can bring my
mm.
college to the school one day. I think it's all a collaborative and a community event at the end of the day. But for young people at the core, or keep on pursuing something that really that you're feeling passionate about, but with social media and the power thereof, research and apply that and find that middle line or middle way of how you can compare that what you love and ideally where the world is going towards. Yeah.
Jerobiam Julies, thank you for being on the show. And yeah, guys, thank you viewers for watching. Please like and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next episode.